Number one skill set for success, number one skill set for effective leaders. It's also the number one skill set that needs to be continually improved upon. And it's the number one skill set that we probably overestimate our effectiveness versus the reality that we still need to improve on it each and every day. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the ability to communicate. Communication, number one leadership issue that we run into in our families, our friends, our personal lives, our professional lives, is how good of a communicator are we? Some things to keep in mind as you start to evaluate your ability to communicate. Number one is clarity. Is it crystal clear on the message that you're intending to get across to people? And is it simple? We have to keep the audience in mind. You have to know your people. Whenever you think about communication, it's all about the people. Because what we say matters, but how we say it matters even more. It's the heartfelt intention of the words and the meaning behind them and the energy behind them can take a very simple matter-of-fact statement and lack the energy, lack the empathy to connect with the audience that we intend to receive it. And the received communication is vastly different from the intended communication. One of the keys to that is always focusing on the people. I mean, number one rule of speaking, like I said, is knowing your audience and asking if we're going into a meeting, who are they? What's important to them? What's challenging them there right now? What questions that come up most frequently from this group? And what are their goals? What are their obstacles? What's their mindset? What do they believe in? As we start to take a look at that, whether it's in our personal, professional lives, but really understanding the audience and their needs. You know, a lot of communicators walk into a situation, and I know I received some great feedback from John Maxwell and others throughout the years is sharing the stage with him at the Maxwell Leadership was, you know, you're not communicating. If you're nervous about speaking, you're probably focusing on yourself too much. And if you're excited, you're thinking about the audience on what they need to be told and what they need to hear versus what you want to say. What's the message that you want to convey versus what is the message they want to hear and they need to hear. And the bold communicators who really connect say what's needed, not only what they want, but the open, honest, and direct truth about what's needed. When we talk about truth, there's two things to think about. Number one, you have to believe what you say. As a leader, if you stand before an audience, I mean, especially in today's day and age from social media, they can spot a fake a mile away. So you have to believe the message that you're talking about. You also have to live it because your actions will speak louder than words. I mean, it's not, don't do as I do, do as I say. It never worked. It didn't work when we were kids, and it doesn't work today in effective leadership. And then last but not least is that we encourage you to empower somebody on your team or a peer that you've empowered to speak openly and candidly about feedback about your communication, what's working and what isn't working. And when you think about the words that you choose, and for those that are very process-minded, for those that are very analytical, facts really don't care about feelings, but people do. So when you think about that, we've got to give them something to feel in our communication, something to connect to, something that resonates inside of them. We also want to give them something to do. What is it we want them to do with the information that we're giving them, and why the motivation? You know, a lot of people think they're going to go into a situation and motivate. And motivation actually has to come almost at the end, because motivation is fleeting. And without that feeling and that connection, the motivation won't make it to their car or the parking lot by the time they walk out the door. So when you're communicating, getting people to commit to doing something and then doing it, what's the call to action? What do I want to communicate to them? What is it that's most important to them? What's the call to action that I have and the action that I want to take when I'm done? And you'll be on your way to being a world-class communicator.